Alright, YouTube. We are here in Jacksonville, Florida. Northside Jacksonville, out in the middle of nowhere. Just factories and kind of industrial area out here. To do this week's GeoCache of the week. And it's the first ever GeoCache of the week for the Liberty Frenzy YouTube channel. So we are doing GC44VBO or VB0 called Charles Lindberg Was Here. It's a multi-part geocache, and it's out to commemorate, let me read it to you. It's a tribute cache to honor Jacksonville Imison Airport, a site all but forgotten. On October 11th, 1927, which by the way is right after, a few months after Lindbergh flew. Charles Lindbergh, of course, is the man who first man to do a transatlantic flight. He flew from New York to Paris in July of 1927. So in October of 1927, legendary aviator Charles Lindbergh flew the Spirit of St. Louis to Jacksonville to inaugurate Imison Field. Or maybe it's Imison Field. On that day, he correctly predicted that air passenger service would in the future span the nation. Built on the site of an old prison farm, Jacksonville Municipal Airport No. 1 once had 5 asphalt runways, the longest being 7,000 feet long. During World War II, the airport, by then renamed Thomas Cole Imison Municipal Airport, was leased to the Army. It was then commissioned as Jacksonville Army Airfield. For those of you who don't know, prior to 1947, the Air Force didn't exist. It used to be the Army Air Force, and I believe it was 1947, the Air Force actually became its own service branch and was separated from the Army. After the war, the airfield became a Reserve Air National Guard airfield and was later transferred back to the city of Jacksonville, which reopened as Jacksonville Imison Airport. With the advent of the jet airliner and the impossibility of runway expansion, it was clear that Jacksonville Imison Airport's days were numbered. A new airport, Jacksonville International Airport, JIA, was soon built 5 miles to the northwest, and Jacksonville Imison became a general aviation airport. It was closed forever in 1971. Alright, so that's the background on this cache. I'm going to go ahead and go to stage 1, and when I get there I'll go and fill you in a little bit more little-known knowledge about old Charles Lindbergh. Okay, so I've found stages 1 and 2. There's one more to go. So a little bit more about Charles Lindbergh. As you can see, got the runway behind me. So a little bit more about Charles Lindbergh. He was the first ever Time Man of the Year. That was in 1927. The issue came out in January 1928. He also was awarded the Medal of Honor, but it wasn't for heroism in battle. It was for his flight across the Atlantic. There are a few other non-combat related Medal of Honors out there. Several of them were aviators around the same time as Lindbergh. But he was a Medal of Honor recipient. Pretty interesting history. This is a really cool geocache. Really neat. I like the multi-stage one. It's my first ever multi-stage. And I'm obviously not giving you any spoilers here. Because, well, I want you guys to find it on your own. And I think that's part of the fun. We are going to go on to stage 3. Find the last bit of the cache here and see what's in there. See what kind of goodies are in there. And then that'll be it for today's adventure. Alright, that was awesome. Finally, after about 30 minutes of digging through the bush, I managed to find the final geocache, or final stage of this geocache, which was a really great fun hunt. It was great. 3 different stages, each with coordinates to the next spot, and then finally the last place. I don't want to give any spoilers away, so you guys can come out here and find it on your own. It's a really great find. I have to get better at looking for the more obvious solution instead of digging around and looking when I walk right past the obvious solution multiple times. But that's okay. The geo coordinates are spot on. So just if you're going to come out here and do this, trust the GPS, trust your smartphone, and you should be able to find it without much of a problem. Other than that, great find. Thank you very much, geocache community, for this great hobby and great sport. And until next week's Geocache of the Week, I'll catch y'all later. Liberty Frenzy's out.